The accelerated spread of coronavirus, greater awareness, of course, is being created about the need for people to take extra care in protecting themselves from the risk of contamination or infection. In all of this, one set of people who have been brought to the fore of the conversation are air passengers and those who have just had to travel, either because of the demands of their vocations or even holiday makers. Now, having to share enclosed spaces like airplane cabins, where there is frequency of contact with surfaces and exposure to saturated air, is being seen as one of the more likely routes to this contagion. At the moment, the signs have not shown to be promising for operators of international carriers and also, by extension, other practitioners within the global aviation industry. Coronavirus appears to be outstripping commercial considerations. For a wider conversation on all of this now, we're going to be joined here in Lagos by Dr. Abiodun Aseku, an international aviation executive. Dr. Aseku was Managing Director, Maintenance and Engineering at American Airlines. He's over in our Abuja studios. Welcome to the program. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. Thank you for coming to the morning show. Thank you very much indeed. It's good to see you again. Well, quickly, a coronavirus threatening to become a pandemic. What's your assessment of the effect it has had on the travel and tourism industry globally?
Well, the first thing I will talk about when it comes to coronavirus is the issue of people panicking about the conditions. The world experts on it, they are still looking and working on research as far as what is causing all these issues. But as far as the traveling public, the most important thing is that we have to be a little bit cautious and be protective of ourselves, but we cannot allow that to disturb or distort our programs from doing what we need to do, because basically we don't know exactly what is causing this. And at the same time, if we take a little bit preventive precautions, we'll be able to do what we need to do as far as moving public around, especially on the aircraft. It's very important that even myself, I just traveled back from US yesterday, and I noticed there's a lot of issues, a lot of people panicking and worried about what is going to happen to them. But basically, if you take care of what is necessary as far as taking care of yourself, be mindful of who's around you, who's sneezing around you, and then you'll be able to, take care of some of these issues and protect yourself. But it should not be it should not be a problem that will cause international issues, because right now everybody's worried about it and it's causing a big problem in the world markets.
Absolutely, and I'd like to bring you up on a headline that's directly related to a company you're affiliated with, and the headline reads, American Airlines shares dropped to the lowest in more than 6 years amid coronavirus airline rout. What is your take on this?
Well, actually, at the beginning also, we were we took a little bit of, we were very patient. We didn't react when it first happened. So we got a lot of criticism as regards to that. Because we're trying to find out what's causing this, how can that affect the business. But the majority of the airlines, they started canceling their flights. So American Airlines also reacts. Because if they don't, then the public will see them as if it's only money they are interested in. They are not interested in the people. So that's one of the reasons why they reduce their flights in some areas and cancel flights in other areas.
Well, you said you returned from the United States only yesterday. When you arrived at the airport in Nigeria, did you get a sense that Nigeria is preparing and that Nigeria is taking precautionary steps to prevent the outbreak of coronavirus in Nigeria?
I have to be honest with you. When I came in, I noticed that we actually did way better than most countries when it comes to being prepared for this coronavirus. Yeah, we did very well. As soon as we came in, everybody was they checking everybody, making sure that there's no issue. If somebody is coughing, they set them aside and try to get them to do more tests. So Nigerians, we did very well when it comes to that. You know, we did actually better than what we did in the U.S. We didn't. I will say that we did exceptionally well. We are very protective of our people, and we are taking precautions to make sure that we don't have that problem in this place. Yes.
Certainly, and that's extremely important. I mean, the great worry, the great anxiety that we're talking about, especially when it comes to aviation, is the risk of spread if a potential coronavirus case was on an airline that was taking a long route, let's say, because, of course, air is being circulated. Can you give us more of the ins and outs on this? I mean, the risks of a potential case coming up on an airline and how bad that would really be, or severe?
When you are coming inside the airplane, basically you go through certain checks. So, but once you come in and you take your position, you take your seats, they train the flight attendants to make sure that people are comfortable. And if they see any signs, then they have to quickly alert pilots or alert people so that they can do whatever they need to do to take care of the situation. But you cannot control what people do or how they do it because you don't know. So the only thing is that when you see the action, when you see something of that nature, when you see any signs, then you take actions. So but before that, there's nothing else you can do. So the airlines are very, 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 very protective. They are worried about the situation because they know that if anything happened that we cause people not to fly, then it's going to be a serious problem. So therefore, they are trying their very best to make sure that they alleviate some of these fears. And I've seen a lot of those in action because I fly a lot, and I see things, especially at the airport and inside the airplane. But the people that are actually working on the aircraft themselves, they are very protective. They take precautions, preliminary actions to make sure that nothing of such happens. If they see anybody that is sick, they set them aside. So that's really what has been going on.
Well, I mean, you live and work in the United States, and President Trump has been criticized for not taking the matter seriously enough, although he has already designated Vice President Mike Pence to lead the effort to make sure that there's no outbreak of coronavirus in the United States. Now, when you compare the response in the United States to what you've seen elsewhere, will you say that, you know, even the United States is providing the necessary leadership in maybe, you know, curtailing this and finding a solution to it?
Yeah, let's try to separate politics from the action of what's actually happening. Because if you notice, the other day, the Secretary General, the medical person in charge of this coronavirus, spoke at length, and he said that there's possibility of a mass problem with this. Then President Trump came in yesterday, and he said, or this morning, and he said that there's no problem. So you remember, they have to also protect to make sure that there's no problem in the area of markets, because if President Trump says something negative or try to say something in favor of coronavirus coming into America, you know what that causes. That will cause a serious market issue. So he has to be a little bit very careful with what he said and how he said it. But the point is that the people in charge, they are taking all the necessary precautions as far as what to do, and you know they are doing it. As of today, there is no known case of coronavirus in the U.S. that has caused people to die. But there is a known case that is happening. But the effect of it, how much of it, is what we don't know. So I'm coming to Nigeria, and I also noticed the same thing. So everybody is trying to make sure that none of this outbreak comes into the country, because if it does, it's going to be catastrophe, more catastrophic in Nigeria compared to other places because of medical attention and all that. But our medical people here, they're very ready, and they have what it takes to get it done if we have to. The only problem is that we might not have the right equipment, medical facilities, but they are trying to make sure that in case something like this happens, they will arrest it immediately. But we cannot compare how we're going to do the arrest of that coronavirus here compared to United States, because they have more facility, more hospitals, more areas to work. But here, they're saying that prevention is better than cure. That's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to prevent the problem from happening. And I'm very happy with the way we are doing it here, because I tell you, based on what we have, and based on the knowledge, and based on the thing that we have over here, we are doing a fantastic job to make sure that we don't have this problem at all.
Certainly, it must be said, and we do have to commend our agencies that are working very hard night and day to ensure that we do not fall victim of coronavirus. Now, I wanted to also bring you up on something still linked, of course, to the aviation industry. Reports are showing that airlines are set to lose $30 billion to coronavirus. How long is it going to take the global aviation industry to really recover from that huge amount of loss?
It's, you know, it's a serious issue, because I give you an example. At American Airlines, we grounded a lot of aircraft from not flying to China or flying to Asia. That alone is a lot of revenue being lost. It's a lot of revenue. It's not just U.S. It's other countries too that are not going to Far East because of this problem. So, and you know, China is the second largest economy in the world, and if we're having problem going back and forth from that place, it's going to affect airline industries. So basically, yes, there's a lot of effect on that, and they are losing a lot of money on a daily basis for not being able to fly to Asia and some other countries. So it's a big problem, and we're trying to see what we can do to arrest that. But for right now, it's a major issue all over the world. Because as I said earlier, there's the major, in order for economy to boost, we are now in global economy, so without flying, without aviation, all that is not going to be, we won't be able to realize the maximum potential of the markets.
Well, Dr. Aseku, the last time you were on this program, you expressed a lot of concern about Nigerian Airlines, that is the private airlines operating in Nigeria, and the standards that they tend to maintain. With regard to coronavirus, do you see the same level of preparedness, of caution on the part of our local airlines? You said when you got to the airport, you saw an effort on the part of the aviation officials to address the challenge. But how about flights within Nigeria and the airlines operating within Nigeria?
If we can approach our airline industry the way we approach this coronavirus, I think we're going to be doing very well. It's a good step. It's a fantastic way of improving our systems. So basically, I like the way we're approaching it right here. Then also, if you notice, the last time I was in your studio, you actually asked me about ILS and instrument landing system. And at that time, I told you that I can't say much about it because of what is being, what I noticed at that time. And eventually, you see what happened in the last 1 month. But luckily for us, in the past few days, we finally solved that problem. So the key here is that we should not allow problems to accumulate before we solve the problem. We're supposed to anticipate problems, especially when you're dealing with traveling public, especially when you're dealing with a business where people need that business to survive, for their own business to thrive. So it's very important that we need to start looking ahead, to start figuring things before it happens. Because, as I told you, once you already have a problem,
well, Dr. Aseku, sorry to interrupt. We need to take a short break.
At that time, all you're doing is
Dr. Aseku, we need to take a short break. When we return, the conversation will continue.
Abiodun Aseku, an international aviation executive, and we're speaking on a number of issues. We've just looked into coronavirus and aviation, and now we're also discussing the Instrument Landing System 3 that, of course, caused controversy here in Lagos when planes could not land, that we hear is now installed. Dr. Aseku, before we went on a break, and thank you for staying with us, you were making a point with regards to the Instrument Landing 3. Do conclude your thoughts on that, Doctor, and also to add to that as well, now that we have updated our instrument landing system, what sorts of potential are we trying to target in terms of aviation within Lagos?
Well, first of all, what I was saying before we went on break was that finally the ILS is back on track right now, and everything is done. And I was always telling also that the best way to fix a problem is to anticipate the problem and try to fix it before it causes a major problem. Because once you have a problem, at that time, it's too late. So all you're trying to do is to fight fires. So basically, we are okay now. Everything is back to normal. And in fact, I was talking to the person in charge the other day, on the phone. And he told me what happened, why there was a delay in fixing the problem. He said it was a calibration issue, but now it's all calibrated and everything is back to normal. So basically, today, as of today, we are back to normal, and the business of aviation should proceed and go forward. And in Lagos, which is the economic center of the whole country, so a lot of people are happy. In fact, I had some people on the airplane the other day when they were telling me that there's someone that came in here for a wedding, and they were not able to land. They have to go back to United States. But we thank God for everything for right now. So Lagos is back to normal. Business is on track.
Yes, apart from instrument landing system, which you've talked about, what are the other challenges that you've seen in the aviation industry in Nigeria, and what are some of those best practices that we can learn from other jurisdictions?
Okay, very good. That's a very good question. We have a lot of issues that we need to address one by one. One of the areas that I see a lot of progress and a lot of not even best in class is the AIB, Accident Investigation Bureau. Every time they put out a report, when I read the report, it's a world class. It's best in class, so which is good. So if we can tailor everything towards that, we need to improve on the NCAA and other parastatals, because we should not be comparing ourselves to what we do around the neighboring country. We should be comparing ourselves to international standard, because our people and our country is international country. We have a lot of brain in this country to make things happen and make it the best in class. So for right now, the other areas that I see is the area of our airports. We need to improve on that. And I also read that they're going to concession the the airports, so that by that, if they do that, then maybe they can focus mainly on the business side of it and keep our airport to be best in class. Then on the areas of maintenance of our aircraft, we need to work on that. Also, on the areas of our airlines, as an operator of an airline, we need to improve, because we are flying what is called point to point. And when you do point to point, and there are going to be some delays, there's going to be some issues, especially if your first flight did not go on time, then it's going to affect the rest of the fleet for the rest of the day. So we need to improve on that. Then also we need to improve on the airport's time of closure, the time that we close our airport, because some airports, they are closed at certain times. public the right way. In order to enjoy the flight, we need to improve on the scheduling and also the airport itself. But I think that will be better now that doing the concession of the airports. I think that will improve.
Yes, and you mentioned the Accident Investigative Bureau and how they're actually doing a very good job with regards to the aviation industry. Can you shed more light on this? What the AIB is supposed to do, why they've been doing a good job, etc., for public interest?
Let me give you a practical example of, there was one time, I believe it was Delta Airline that came in, they left Lagos airports, and as they were going, they had some issues with their engines. I think they came back. So then they fixed it, and they continue on without reporting the incident. Because you cannot do that in any country. Anytime you have an issue based on the ICAO standard, you're supposed to report it. The action that was taken by AIB, I was so proud of my country, Nigeria. They make sure that they come back and file the reports the right way and accordingly. And they also demanded that for the actions that they have taken, which is not per the standard, they have to apologize for that, and they got that apology. That right there made me proud. Before, that will not happen. They will just come and go as if nothing happened. They will treat our country as if it's another third world country somewhere, where what they cannot do where they come from. So that's right there gave me a lot of hope. Then also, when I saw the reports, if you read the report that they bring out, you will see that's a world class. So that's one of the reasons why I say AIB is one of the parastatals we should emulate.
Well, Dr. Aseku, let me ask you this question about the allocation of frequencies. Airline operators in Nigeria have had cost
allocation of what?
Frequencies for airlines. Now,
frequencies, okay.
Frequencies. Airline operators in Nigeria have had cause to protest that, the authorities seem to be favoring foreign carriers more, and that's, a disincentive for further investment in the aviation sector by local players. What's your take on that? Is it, necessarily a good thing for government to give more frequencies to foreign carriers, to international destinations? Or this is really a problem of lack of capacity on the part of the local airline operators?
Thank you for that question. Fantastic question. Local airlines, they don't have the right type of equipment to do the routing that they have the license for. And it is the people that will suffer. So I think that's one of the reasons why they give the international carrier some of these frequencies. But technically, we should improve on that, because we should be able to do the airline the way we do it overseas. But the capacity here, because sometimes they will have 2 airplanes, 3 airplanes. You cannot run an effective airline with 2, 3, 4 airplanes. In order to run an effective airline, you need to have minimum of 30 airplanes in your fleet. Not 1, not 2, not 3. So by that, we don't have the right capacity we cannot blame the government, because I've not seen any airline that is say, okay, I'm ready to do this. Then if you don't have the frequency, then you can complain. But the way it is right now, you have, and at the same time, it might not be the problem of the operators, so it might be the problem of the government, the way they issue out their AOC. Maybe they are trying to improve it now, but for the local air operators to have the right frequency, you need a lot of aircraft, not just 2, not 1, not 3. You need a minimum of 30 or 20, maybe it's minimum of 20. You need an aircraft that's going to feed a feeder aircraft to an international operators. You need an operator that has a local airplane, then to feed an international route, then you need a bigger airplane. So by that, an operator, local operator here can have the two fleets so that it's easier for them to travel back and forth. But for the international airline, they just come in, they have fleet of aircraft, so they can just take all, look at Emirates. Emirates will take all our people because they have a lot of airplanes they can use. Delta will do the same thing. Ethiopian Airlines, same thing. Air France, Lufthansa. But we don't have an airline here. Initially, it was ARIC that was trying to do the same thing that most of these international airlines are doing. But unfortunately, ARIC did not do well. So now then we also have Aero Contractor, but they don't have enough aircraft. Then we have Max Air. They don't have enough aircraft. Then Airborne Air is trying now. Hopefully, they'll keep improving. But to answer your question, the most important thing is that you have to have certain number of aircraft in order to take care of the frequency that is allotted. But right now, it is not even. So I will say it's because of the international airlines, they have more aircraft, so they will get better frequency than local operators. But we can get better.
Yeah, but just...
And I can tell you how to get better.
Okay, please go ahead. We still have about a minute.
Yes, the way to get better is to merge. You merge those local operators together because you need more aircraft. Or you have an investor that come in and put in a lot of money so that they can have enough aircraft to do the operation. Right now, we don't have enough.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Aseku. On that note, we'll have to just thank you for coming to the morning show today. Thank you very much.